So, everyone who reads books has a few books that they just do not really care for. They might even say that they're overrated or overhyped. So, let's take a look at my 5 overhyped books. Welcome back to BG's Books. I'm Mr. BG, and today I will be taking a look at 5 books that I think are very overrated or overhyped, if you will. And so I actually did not come up with this idea. My editor actually did. He suggested to me this idea, and I was like, that actually worked. So yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a look at 5 books that I think that I either do not like or I think are very overhyped for one reason or another. And I will explain why I believe that. And now, full disclosure, this is not supposed to be an attack on any of these authors or anyone that likes these books. This is purely my opinion. So again, this has nothing to do with people who like the books I'm talking about or the person who wrote them. This is specifically my opinion. You can feel free to disagree with me if you want. But anyway, yeah, I have my 5 books all selected, so let's take a look at all 5 of them in no particular order. So we're going to start off this list with something that's fairly controversial. I have The Trial by Franz Kafka. So, of course, I read The Trial for the first time just this year as the very first book of the year, actually. And in my review, I did not rate it highly. I said that it was overly confusing, it didn't make any sense, and it was just kind of nonsensical ramblings for any and whatever reason. So, I mean, I've looked into Kafka's works. It looks like all of his works are like surrealist-esque, so I guess that explains the confusing tone. But overall, The Trial was just really boring more than anything. And the parts where it does get interesting don't last long because it just quickly goes back to being weird and confusing and stuff. So yeah, I know that this may be a controversial pick, especially for the people who love Kafka's work and The Trial specifically. But I just could not get into The Trial. I do not like this book. In fact, I would say it's my second least favorite book ever. And yeah, I don't really have anything nice to say about it, but I just think it is extremely overhyped because it is just too weird and too boring, and I just did not understand any of it, which I'm aware is probably the point, but I still wanted to make some sense of it. So the next book I've chosen as an overrated pick is Breakfast at Tiffany's by Truman Capote. So I'm sure you guys have seen my review by now. I was not too keen on Breakfast at Tiffany's or the other 3 stories that were in this collection. I just found them either very boring or like overly long and uninteresting. And also, I just don't really like Truman Capote's writing style. It's like I've witnessed it 4 times now with all the stories in this, and I just could not get into any of them. In fact, I'll even say that Breakfast at Tiffany's was the best of them just because it had the most character development out of all of them. And even that isn't saying a whole lot. So I was just really not a fan of Breakfast at Tiffany's because it's really just the writing and the pacing that killed it for me. So unfortunately, this is an overrated pick. The next book I've chosen for this list is The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz. So, I mean, once again, you guys saw my review. It was more negative than anything. Really, the thing that kills this book for me is that the pacing is just really back and forth. It's either really slow or really fast, maybe somewhat in between occasionally. And then it also bounces back and forth between normal and weird. It's like literally, what tone will the next chapter be? You have no idea. It literally goes from like a haunted house mystery thriller to like a serial killer thriller. And there's like maybe a bit of a mystery in there, and there's also like what on earth is going to happen next and stuff. It's like this is just tonally all over the place, and it was really hard to keep up. Not to mention the characters were just not really that good, and I just didn't really understand the plot. I mean, I like the plot and stuff, but I just didn't really understand it all that well. Overall, this book was just kind of like how I felt about the trial and Breakfast at Tiffany's combined. It was just too weird, too boring, and at times too fast. And the normal stuff I liked, but really this book is just tonally all over the place. It doesn't make up its mind what it wants to be, whether or not that be a supernatural haunted house thriller or a grounded in reality crime thriller. So yeah, really, it's just all over the place, and that really is why I could not get into this book as much as I wanted to. And so the next book that I have selected for you, which is our second to last pick on this list, is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. So for one thing, I do want to say, no, I did not hate this book like the other books in this list. But the thing that really kills Project Hail Mary for me is that the story is really good. It's about a man named Ryland Grace trying to save the sun from getting dimmer so that the earth can be saved and stuff. And that part is really interesting. But the thing that kills it was just that there's so much science and math explanations. I was not a science expert in school, and I most certainly was not a math expert in school. So a lot of it just went right over my head, and it's just kind of overly long. This copy I have is 476 pages. And so literally about maybe 100 of those pages, or even 150 plus of those pages, is just him doing really methodical and tedious math work and science work and stuff. And it was just really boring, and it really dragged down the story. So again, Project Hail Mary is not bad. Andy Weir, I do not believe, is a bad writer, but I do think that Andy Weir should definitely cut down on the scientific explanations going forward. But I highly recommend the movie. I prefer the movie a lot more to the book because it cuts out most of that science stuff. But yeah, anyway, so really my biggest problem with Project Hail Mary is the pacing with all the science and math technological explanations. I don't know why I cannot talk today. But anyway, so yeah, overall, I like the story of Project Hail Mary, but it's really just the slower science scenes that just really take you out and make it really boring and really long to get through. But yeah, those are my feelings on Project Hail Mary. All right, and so the fifth book I have to show you today, the final book on this list is, and I know I'm going to get a lot of controversy for this. People love this book more than anything. It is 11/22/63 by Stephen King. So, I know that's a wild opinion, but let me explain my stuff. First of all, I'm not a history guy. So most of the stuff that happens in this book, I either did not care about or didn't know happened. And don't even know if they actually did happen to begin with. And also, the time travel, because this is a time travel book, the time travel is just like the most depressing version of time travel I've ever seen. Basically, the thing is that you go back to a specific time on a specific day in a specific year, which is 1958. I think it's September, July, or something. I don't remember what month it is, but it's in 1958. And so you want to go back to 1951 to see the publication of Catcher in the Rye? Too bad, you're in 1958. Want to see the original Star Wars in theaters in 1977? Too bad, you're going to have to wait 19 years in real time to see that. Want to see any other historical events? Too bad, you're stuck in this one, so you're either going to have to wait, or if it's further back than 1958, then too bad for you. So yeah, that's just really the depressing part about it, is that it's just the worst time travel ever. And also, people will not stop saying how good this ending is. I hated the ending. This ending is egregiously bad. I also think it's one of the worst endings in a Stephen King book. And yeah, basically this book is just overly long, overly boring, because literally about half the book is just him wiretapping a room and then hearing conversations about conspiracies and stuff. And then the ending just does not even make up for it in the slightest. Now, I do like the characters in it. I do love the main romance between Jake and Sadie, but that's really it. This entire book is really just a big waste of time that you spend 30 hours reading, and then at the end, you're like, so that ending basically made the entire book Nolan void, I guess. So yeah, without getting into spoilers, the ending basically undoes the entire book. I will not elaborate further, but that's just my aggression towards it. This book is so bad, honestly. I'd even say this is the only Stephen King book that I do not like, because I love the man's writing. I love his books, as you can see by my bookshelf, obviously. But 11/22/63 is just his absolute worst book. It is too painfully long. It is too painfully boring. And the time travel is just depressing, and the ending completely undoes everything that the book actually set up. So overall, this is one of the biggest wastes of time I think I've ever seen from a book. And so, yeah, I would love to rant more, but I think you guys get the point by now. So that is all my aggression on why I do not like 11/22/63. So that's the list, guys. Those are my 5 picks for most overrated books. I am very aware that some of these are more controversial than others. 11/22/63 and Project Hail Mary. But again, as I said, this is fully my opinion. This is not a video to attack the people who love/like these books, or even the people who made these books. Every author is incredible because they put their voice out there and whatever. But some books I just like more than others, and some books I like less than others. So I hope you can understand. But anyway, so yeah, controversy aside, I would love to see your guys' picks for top 5 overrated books. And I'm also thinking maybe I could do a counter video to this where I do a top 5 underrated books. So let me know if you guys would like to see that as well. But anyway, so yeah, those are just my picks. Please don't be too mad. But anyway, guys, that is it for this video. I do hope you guys enjoyed me talking about 5 books that I think are just very overrated. Please let me know your picks for 5 overrated books in the comments down below. And who knows, there's some more books I think are overrated, so maybe I can make a part 2 in the future. But if the interest is there, I also would consider making the exact inverse of this video, which is 5 underrated books. So let me know in the comments if you think you would like to see that video as well, and then leave me your picks for those on that video if I do make those. But anyway, so yeah, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video regardless of my controversial opinions. But anyway, that is it from me. I've been Mr. BG. This has been BG's Books, and I will see you guys in the next video.